5 lies the enemy wants every teenager to believe, part 5, and this is the final one. And that lie is this right here. Just follow your heart and do what feels right. Just follow your heart. That is a lie the enemy wants every teenager to believe. And from the outset, it sounds good. It's spoon-fed in our culture today, especially to young people, the idea of just do what feels right in the moment. If it feels good, then just do it. Don't think about it, just do it. Just follow your heart. I mean, I remember growing up watching Disney movies, and all of those movies, typically that is the general thing. In the moment, do what feels right, follow your heart. And while that sounds noble and it sounds like a good message, here's the problem. All of our hearts are deceitfully wicked, according to the Bible. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah that the Bible is deceitfully wicked and sick. Who can understand it? See, our hearts are affected and impacted by sin, which means when it comes down to it, we really don't know what we want. See, our heart just leads us from idol to idol, fad to fad, this sin to that sin. In the moment, it feels good, and it feels like it's a right thing. We can even convince ourselves that it's of God, because it's like, why would this feel so good and feel so right and feel so righteous and holy if God didn't want me to do this? And that's the problem. Sin can be pleasurable for a season, and it can feel good for a season, and that's why this is deceitful and it's trickery. It's deceptive, and that's why the enemy tries to use it against us as much as possible, even adults. So we still have to deal with this as well. And so, what is the solution to this? Well, first of all, we must recognize that we really can't trust our heart when it comes down to it. We must seek after the heart of Christ. That's what David did. David said, God, if there's anything within me that goes against you, reveal that to me. God, I want your heart. And when we seek the heart of Christ, he begins to replace our heart with his heart's desires, the things in us that ultimately matter to him, and our heart begins to change. And so we don't need to follow our heart. We need to transform our hearts. We need to have our hearts transformed by God, by Jesus, by the Holy Spirit. And when we yield our hearts to him is when he begins to transform things in our hearts and replace those with the things that matter to him. Our heart begins to line up with his heart. Our desires begin to line up with his desires. And that's when we begin to find true satisfaction. So no, teenagers, do not follow your heart, because it will lead you astray. It will lead you to loneliness. It will lead you to sin. It will lead you to despair. It will lead you down a road that you're just miserable. And so we need to seek after the heart of Jesus, and let's fight against this lie, and we need the heart of Christ.